Hello, dear friends. Tashi Delik, and welcome back to my online talk. And today I'm going to talk about the distinctions between Buddhism's dependent origination and determinism theory. In fact, my today's topic is based on one of your questions, which says that how dependent origination differs from hard determinism. What is the nature of my will to choose to practice virtue? Where does it come from? And how can I cultivate that willpower to choose? Okay, now I will answer all these questions here in my talk. So now let's start. In the field of psychology, there are 5 major perspectives. Psychodynamic approach, neuroscience approach, cognitive approach, behavioral approach, and humanistic approach. Out of this, Sigmund Freud's psychodynamic approach and B.F. Skinner's behavioral approach holds this determinism theory. This theory asserts that the internal forces such as our past events, our biological factors, and the external forces such as our social contexts, our environmental factors are the cause of our action. Our action is determined. Our action is predictable, so that's why we have no control on our action. And the free will power doesn't exist at all. So in this approach, behavioral psychologists help their patient by tracing out the cause of their problem by digging their past events, their genetic problem, and their social settings. On the other hand, Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers' behavioral approach strongly disapproves this determinism theory by claiming that every individual has the freedom to choose in how to behave. So that's why our action is not determined. It is impossible to predict humans' action. Now, the Buddhism embraces some perspectives of humanistic and determinism theory, and Buddhism also negates some perspectives of these two theories. So now let's figure out what are those theories. Buddhism accepts the determinism's belief that external and internal factors are the cause of our action. And Buddhism also refutes the determinism's theory that we have no control on our action and our action is determined. Simultaneously, Buddhism also accepts the humanistic theories' belief that free will power does exist. But Buddhism also refutes their perspective of believing that only the free will power is the cause of our action. Now let's explore what does Buddhism has to say about this dependent origination. So all the unanimated and animated bodies and actions are the result of its own cause and condition. Here the Lord Buddha said that we can tell where we will be born in our next life by observing our present action. So that's why our action is the result of our own choice, and our own choice is stimulated by the external and internal factors. Here the internal factor is identified as our past lives' habitual tendencies, our mental event, and our genetic factors. And the external forces are our social environments. So the result depends on cause, and cause depends on the conditions for the positive result. That is the law of cause and effects, and it is termed as dependent origination in Buddhism. Let me give you an simple example here. So our willpower is our mental event. It is the function of our mind, and our willpower to practice virtuous action is influenced by the other factors. Here, the internal factors can be our interest and our curiosity in virtuous actions, or our belief in good and bad sides of the actions. The external forces can be our exposure to the virtuous action, or we have gotten inspired by some virtuous or righteous person. Here it conspicuously displays that the origination of all the existence is dependence. Okay, now let's find out how our willpower is influenced by the other forces. Let me give you an example. Let's say I chose a dress, and my choice is influenced by other factors. The internal factors, such as my preferences on the types of dress, my preferences on color and size of dress. And the external factors can be that my dress would be the latest trending dress, or my dress will be well matched with the seasons, summer or winter, or my dress is well matched with the occasion. So, though we make our choices, but our choice is somehow influenced by the other forces because of its dependent nature. Now let's sort out how our willpower and action affects the result. Lord Buddha said that when our action is well conditioned with the affects, then definitely it will ripe into a result in a right time. So here, if the condition is assembled successfully with the cause, then the result is likely to take place. But if the condition failed to support the cause, then the result would be uncertain here. Let's say that I am an A grade student and I strive very hard in studies for my brightful career. But one day I decide to drop out. I decide to renounce from these worldly matters. So now in this interesting scenario, my first choice of making effort in studies is affected by my second choice of withdrawal. Likewise, my second choice of withdrawal affects the result of my brightful career too. Similarly, Buddhism believes that our confession clarifies the bad karma or our bad actions. The will and act of confession affects the result here. Find out what does this dependent origination really tries to prove to us. The first thing, it proves that there is no such a creator of this world and its people other than ourselves. All the existence are the result of its own cause and condition. The second thing, it proves that we exist here because of our own action, and we are responsible for our action. Lord Buddha said that your own self is your master. Who else there could be? And the third thing that it proves that all the subjects and objects have the dependent nature. And the fourth thing is that it refutes the theory of uncontrollable and unchangeable human actions. Now let's move to the benefits of understanding this dependent origination. The first thing, it helps us to build a patience in us. So in our life, sometimes when we encounter with failure, that time its understanding help us to uplift our moods. That understanding reminds us that we are not the only one that is to be blamed for the failure, because there are other dependent agents too that failed to assemble for our success. Secondly, this understanding helps us to keep ourselves grounded. When sometimes our self-congratulatory attitude goes up or soars up, that time this understanding makes us realize that there are other dependent agents too that are involved in our success. And it helps us to appreciate and respect their involvement in our success. Thirdly, this understanding helps us to deal with the sudden changes in our life. When our pleasant moment change into a tragedy all of a sudden without any expectation, during that time, it makes us realize that all the existence are transitory because of its dependent nature. So it teaches us to accept the changes, and it even builds the resilience power in us. Finally, this understanding also helps us to understand that our happiness depends on others and others' happiness depends on us too. And it promotes the sharing and caring towards other beings. And this also helps to improve our all the kinds of relationship here. So now let's go to the question and answer session. So here I have some questions from California, and it reads that I listen to the teachings while I do houseworks, exercises, so it helped me a lot. But I am wondering if I am disrespecting the teachings. Dear friend, you are right. There are certain disciplines or etiquette in the terms of listening and teaching the dharma in Buddhism, such as doing such kind of visualizations, sitting properly, how to sit properly, or sit quietly, or be attentive. But if we can't comply with these rules because of some accountable reasons, then there is exception for it. So we can listen the teachings while we drive, or while we sleep, or while we walk or jog, so on. And the second question, it says, can you explain about the resting meditation and how can I combine it with analytical meditation? So in the alternative practice of analytical meditation and resting meditation, we need to start from the analytical meditation first, by analyzing the conventional truth or ultimate truth, such as analyzing on the nature of suffering of the samsara, or analyzing on the nature of mind or emptiness, etc. So when we keep on analyzing, and in between, if we feel like changing or if we feel bored, then we can switch on to the resting mode. The resting meditation depends on individuals' own acquaintance with the types of meditation. Some people rest on the state of their mind without clinging any thoughts, or some people rest on the nature of their mind, and some people rest on the nature of impermanence, so on. Finally, the combo practice of analytical meditation and resting meditation makes our mind more flexible, reasonable, and controllable. So now I'm going to conclude my talk here, and feel free to ask me questions. We'll see you next time in my next talk. And please take care. Trashi Delek, stay safe. Bye.